Hi, welcome to my Retail Tycoon series of videos. I will show you how to get an upgraded store with the best sign. You've bought all the land, you have a full skylight ceiling, full glass walls, the biggest parking lot in less than 13 game hours, and a 5.0 star rating in less than 12 game hours. To run faster, press the Shift key along with your directional arrows or your WASD. The tabs on your left and the shortcut keys are very helpful. Number 1 for manage, number 2 for supply. Pressing these will save you from moving your mouse around as often. The furnish tab is where you buy your self-checkout stands. Your supply tab is where you buy the products to go on the shelves or in the cases. The Manage tab is how you fill and restock the shelves. After a certain point, I start getting asked all the time, how do you get a store like that? Well, rule number 1, always get self-checkouts. Yes, they're more expensive, but they don't cost you as much as an employee. You don't ever need to hire a cashier if you have enough self-checks. I recommend starting with candy like I did. You only need 30 pieces of candy to fill a shelving unit. So I just went into the build tab and I used the bulldozer function because we're eventually going to have the highest height of walls. So these cheap walls don't cut it, and we can bulldoze them and get some quick cash to start doing other things while we're waiting for enough money to build the nice walls, the nice doors, the nice ceiling. To fill a freezer, you need 80 sodas. Sodas are one of the other cheaper items. The chips are also cheap, but their shelving is display shelving, which is a little more expensive. Then again, the freezer isn't cheap either, but at this point, you're wanting quick sales of a lot of items so that you can buy the more expensive things to stock in your store. The supply tab is where you see how much it costs you and how much it sells for. It's also where you can start doing auto supply when you've gotten a manager, but you won't need a manager for quite some time. The Furnish tab allows you to move items. This yellow text tells you that there's a robber coming, a shoplifter. All you have to do is click on the robber and they will be arrested. The Furnish tab has directional arrows on the right. That is how you move items. You'll see those blue outlines around your cases, and if you press R, they will rotate and face a different direction if necessary. The Furnish tab is where you buy your display shelves and cases, your freezer. It's also where you can buy decorations for your store, your trees, fountains, bushes, etc. But we're not going to worry about those for a while. Right now, the main thing is to keep your shelves stocked and your floor clean. If you have a spill, all you have to do is click it and keep clicking and it will go away. Racks aren't very expensive, but the items that you put on them are not cheap. So a $400 rack is great, but then having a full rack costs quite a bit more. I'm sure you've noticed the customers make comments in little text bubbles above their heads, and on the left of what they're saying, it'll be red or green. Red is a complaint, and green is something good. And right now, we're going to get a lot of red, which is not good for our store rating, but we don't have walls, we don't have any decorations. It's a very plain store, but it's clean. We don't have enough money to buy enough car parts to fill the rack, not even with the bulldozing and everything else. Just because we can't afford car parts and we don't have a full rack there doesn't mean that we should neglect the soda or the candy. We should still be buying candy and soda and keeping those full so that we can make the money to fill the car parts rack. It didn't have to be car parts, it could have been pets or electronics. It's just that the smartphones, tablets, and jewelry, along with the instruments, have more expensive cases and the items are expensive, so it's a little bit easier to just do car parts. I'm probably a little too particular about keeping the shelves full, but I find that it helps you have a truer count of your profit so that when you have employees and that's being deducted every minute and your supplies are being deducted every minute because you've gotten a manager and you have auto resupply, you want to keep things pretty close. Otherwise, you'll go to make an upgrade and you won't have the money anymore because something got deducted. So I usually try and keep on top of my shelves. And we've finally been able to get our car parts shelving into the green. It's not full, but you get like a yellow warning color if it's too low. Having robbers might make you think that you need a guard, but a guard is very expensive and they don't stay up at the front. They don't keep an eye on the doors. They wander all over the store. So I find them to be a pretty big waste of money until much later in the game. I can keep a really good eye on the front of my store and do almost everything I need to do without letting robbers get in the door. And by not letting them in the door, I mean not letting them in the store far enough to actually get close to the merchandise. I try and leave a fairly good space between the front doors and the expensive products. I always put the more expensive products at the back of the store. Now, the robbers have a certain gray shirt and a certain gray cap that they wear. Sometimes they'll have a bandana, sometimes they'll have sunglasses, sometimes they won't, but they always have at least those two particular items. Occasionally you'll get customers that have the shirt and not the hat, or have the hat and not the shirt, but you'll click on them and nothing will happen because they're customers and not robbers. The robbers spawn in a particular place in the parking lot. I try and keep my restocking window out of the way of the front doors at least, or being able to see if a robber is going to come in. I don't always succeed at it, but I try and keep a sort of clearer view of the front. It is important to occasionally either change your viewpoint or walk around the store because you'll get spills that you might not see, like the freezers. Sometimes I'll get a spill in between the freezer and that self checkout on the right, and it can be harder to see, especially if I'm standing at the back by the car parts and the candy. So just be aware that if you have a spill, stay on the floor I don't know how long it is exactly, but after a certain amount of time, your store rating starts going down and it doesn't recover immediately. We haven't been open very long, but we're already a little past 2 stars, which is good. I've opened stores a few times, and the second self-checkout is a big part of this because if they think the lines are too long, they will grumble and they will leave if you don't get another check stand out there immediately, and they won't buy anything. After you've sold a certain number of each item that can be sold, you will receive a money tree. So it's important to have every kind of item, if possible, before you start duplicating shelves and racks of things. I find hats always sell really well. They're a nice mid-level item. You only need 12 of them to fill a hat display stand. Now, not that we're anywhere close to having enough money to upgrade land, to get a bigger, better store sign, or to get more parking spaces in a parking lot, but your upgrade tab has all of those things. You can buy more land, you can get more spaces in a bigger parking lot, or you can get a bigger, better store sign with the right amount of money. You will need to press 1 to manage or 2 to supply or something to change your viewpoint after you've gone into upgrade, because it doesn't return to the regular viewpoint on its own after you've purchased something. There will be lulls in this game where you just have to keep stocking items and wait to have enough money to upgrade, to buy more merchandise, to buy another display case or rack. It's just part of the game. We've hardly been open long at all, and we very nearly reached 3 stars. During the lulls in the game, when it's a little bit quieter, you can make sure and keep your shelves stocked the best you can. Make sure the floor is clean and start thinking about what item you most want to have in your store next. I don't usually leave the chat window open because it interferes with my ability to see robbers in the store. And I also don't play this particular game for interaction with other people. I hope you're enjoying Retail Tycoon as much as I am. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful or enjoyable, please click like or subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and I will try and get to that in my next video. I can't wait to show you some of the upgrades and building materials that you can use. Thanks so much for watching.